Hello. Welcome to Everybody Sales Training. Today we're going to talk a lot about your role in selling Westminster. We have a lot that we want to get to today, so I'm going to start with just some quick introductions. I think I know everyone in this room, but my name's Jordan Bleeker. I am the Sales and Marketing Director here at Westminster. Been here for 14 years, spent some time on the skilled nursing side, but have spent a majority of my time on the sales and marketing team on the independent living side of our community. What is most important to me about senior living? I grew up very close to both sets of grandparents, and Alzheimer's and dementia care is something that has always just been very near and dear to my heart. And I think that it's important to be a part of a culture, to be a part of a community like Westminster, where seniors are valued and empowered, even with a dementia diagnosis. So that's something very important to me. Most of you know Judy Miltner. She is a Regional Sales and Marketing Director for Life Care Services, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Yes, I am a Regional Marketing and Sales Director with our management company, Life Care Services, and I have been in senior living for 19 plus years. 12 of those years I worked in a community very similar to Westminster. I did come here from Chicago. I live in Chicago, in the suburbs of Chicago, I should say, and it was 8 degrees when I left. So I'm super happy to be in Austin, even though I know you're getting a cold front coming through this weekend. It's nothing like we're living in Chicago right now. But anyways, what's important to me about senior living, really I do what I do for my family. That's a picture of my family, but it's missing probably our most important member, which is now a 1-year-old grandbaby. How many of you have grandchildren? Is it not the best? Woohoo! So anyways, but I do what I do in senior living because of folks like this little picture, this little man in the picture below. This is Howie. Howie lived in our community. He was my very first sale when I worked in senior living. And shortly after he and his wife moved in, she passed away of Alzheimer's. He also lost 2 of his 3 children. And it was around Thanksgiving time when I noticed that Howie was pretty down in the dumps. So I invited him to Thanksgiving at our home. And like these seniors do for all of us, he became a part of our family. And became Grandpa Howie. My kids still talk about Grandpa Howie. He came to their ball games and their first Holy Communions and all that. So being in this industry is an unbelievable gift, and I hope you all agree. Today we're going to go through a number of things. We're going to talk about your performance in 2025. How did the community do based on what we budgeted to achieve? We're then going to talk a little bit about what do we need to do in 2026 to stay there or to even improve. And we're going to give you some tips and tricks to get there. So without further ado, let's look at the year in review in 2025. I understand that this slide is hard to read, so I'm going to give you the highlights. But you'll notice that logo, Ascend to 95. In essence, what that means is post-COVID, our occupancy dropped in a lot of our communities, right? We couldn't let people in. And so we needed to rebuild our occupancy. And LCS said, how about if we have a goal of achieving 95% occupancy across our levels of care and in our communities? So this is a snapshot of what the entire campus did last year in 2025. The dark blue line represents what you actually did as far as your performance, and the light blue line represents what your budget was. So based on that, what can you see in this slide? You exceeded budget. You exceeded budget. Your budget was 94% across the campus, and you were close to almost 96% occupied. Woohoo! Give yourselves a round of applause. That's fantastic. So a big shout out to Chuck, Sarah, Cassie, and all the teams, all of you that work under them. When we dig a little deeper into each level of care, we start with independent living, and based on what I said on the last slide, what do you see on this slide? Above budget, but even more above budget, right? So the independent side of the house did really well. On a budget of 95%, they were closer to 97. So amazing. And truly, we talk about what the sales team did, but who really did that? Everybody. It takes a village, right? And there's no doubt that this took a village. So if you work in the independent side of the community, congratulations. Phenomenal work. On the assisted living and memory support side, any of you in this room work in those levels of care? Okay, very good. So you'll notice a little bit more up and down in the graph here. And the truth is, we were really getting our legs under us as we opened assisted living and memory support the year before, and we were slowly moving people through the continuum. It was a big process. The occupancy dipped in August to 88%, which truly, if you know all the communities that I work with, that's nothing. That's still fantastic. But by the end of the year, it grew to 95%. So amazing work, all of you in assisted living and memory support for another great year. Thank you. The health center also had another great year. Started the year at 89% and ended the year over budget at 93%. So if you work in the health center, great job. Thank you so much.
So this slide probably looks familiar to some of you. This is a recap of our 2025 sales goals. So our goal last year was 36 sales. We blew that goal out of the water. We secured 47 sales last year, which is just tremendous. As the slide says, the success of Westminster, it begins with you. It begins with all of us here in this room. When we all contribute to an outstanding customer experience, we all work to create an extraordinary community where people want to live. And Westminster is certainly a community where people want to live. Look at these high resident satisfaction scores. In our day-to-day work, we know that it's all about the residents, but when they give us a score of 97%, that tells us that we're doing a great job. I mean, this is the culmination of all of our hard work and effort. The LCS expectation for satisfaction is 92%, so we are also exceeding that metric as well. Judy, did you want to comment on the J.D. Power Award?
How many of you are familiar with J.D. Power Awards? Right? And I think when you see, that Ford truck or whatever the truck is that's getting the J.D. Power Award, what does that mean to you? What are they trying to tell you?
High quality.
High quality, right? They've done something really well, and that's the truck you want to buy. It's the same thing in senior living. How many of you have seen, when you walk in the front door of Westminster, whichever level of care, a big, huge banner or poster that says J.D. Power Award? Have you noticed that? If you haven't, maybe you will now. But ultimately what that says is, Life Care Services, the management organization of your company, has been voted the #1 senior living communities in all across the country for 7 years in a row. So that's the seal of approval, and the stamp of quality is really that J.D. Power Award. So we wanted you to know what that meant so you could kind of share that with other people.
I want to talk a little bit about Westminster's foundation. So as we all know, right, everything is built on a foundation. The home that you live in, this Windsor building, is built on a foundation. The culture here at Westminster is also built on a foundation. So I want to read these aloud because that's how important they are. Our mission, enriching lives through inspired experiences. Our vision, we are dedicated to providing a nurturing, purposeful, connected, and abundant life for all we serve. Our core values, we are resident-centered always. We operate with inclusion and integrity. People first, we have dedicated and engaged associates. Financial stewardship, innovative and nurturing culture, and we're environmentally conscious. Our guiding principles, we provide hospitality and first-class services in a secure, warm, and inviting community. We provide premier healthcare that promotes and encourages independence, physical, social, spiritual, and intellectual growth while treating everyone with dignity and respect. We communicate well and often. We find unique ways to bring joy to our residents and associates. We consider the impact of our actions on the world, and we do our best to make the world a better place. And we act honestly with ourselves and others. We also seek and adopt innovative solutions. This is Westminster's foundation. I'm going to let Judy talk just a little bit about some LCS principles as well.
So similar to what Jordan said about the Westminster mission, vision, and values, we have the LCS principles too. And the first one is we serve the customer first and foremost. So I ask you a question, who are your customers? Residents. Who else?
Staff.
Family members, associates? More?
Vendors.
Vendors, caregivers, everybody that comes in the front door, right? And so we make sure that we take care of everybody that comes through the front door. Next, we deal honestly and fairly with integrity and openness. How many of you have heard the phrase under promise and over deliver? How many of you live by that? If you don't, and I suspect more of you that haven't raised your hands, okay? But at the end of the day, what a beautiful gift that is to give to others, right? Tell them you're going to do this, but deliver this. That is the Westminster way. We maintain a long-term perspective. A great example, first of all, a great example is Phase 4 construction. You guys don't stop. The opportunities here for a phenomenal life are evident in all the building and construction and everything that goes on consistently here. But another example is, how many of you were here during COVID? Right? Some places did not fare well after COVID. You know why? Because they didn't have a long-term perspective. You are super fortunate here to have a visionary executive director and board of directors that are looking at today, tomorrow, and the future. You're about to celebrate 60 years. We're looking at 120 years. Where are we going to be, right? This is a place seniors are going to love living for a lot of years, and associates are going to love working. I just want to say, Jordan and I had salmon in your treehouse yesterday. How many of you had salmon yesterday for lunch? Who gets salmon for lunch as a staff member? It blows me away, sorry. Maybe you're used to it, I'm not. It was amazing. Anyways, we're diligent and persevering. We don't quit. We don't give up here, right? And we're interconnected and interdependent. What does that mean? We work together. We need each other. And we respect that and we appreciate having others to fall back on. Then we have this culture philosophy called sales first. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. In order to cultivate this concept of sales first, we as associates need to understand our customers. What do they need? And we need to treat everyone's situation uniquely because they're all different, right? We demonstrate what we call atypical behaviors that set us apart from the sea of sameness of how many senior living communities are in your neighborhood. Across the street, they have a lot of choices out there. So if we don't differentiate ourselves and talk about individual needs and help people one-on-one, we're just in a sea of sameness. We have no differentiators, but we know that's not different that's different here because we saw your performance numbers from last year, right? You are definitely different and people recognize that. So we need to create meaningful, memorable, and unique experiences for the residents that we serve. When we say sales first, does that mean that the sales team is the end-all be-all? Absolutely not. But it means it's all of our responsibilities to understand that if we don't sell, what happens to us?
We cease to exist.
We don't have a job. We don't have a job. And yeah.
We still live.
Yeah, we still live. We just live a lot differently. We don't have salmon every day. Anyways, I digress. So, under the sales first philosophy, we have a purpose statement. As Jordan said earlier, we know that we're resident-centered. And we wholeheartedly believe that when a resident chooses Westminster, that their life is going to be better than it was prior to moving here. Because we watch them. We see them every day enjoying all the activities, the wonderful food, the companionship, the happy hours. Jordan and I went up to our rooms last night at 7 p.m. and your Rowan dining room was hopping. I've been here before and I didn't see that. People were having a great time. It was packed. Amazing. So we say sales first because we can't serve residents if they're not here, if they don't choose us. So much of what we're going to discuss today is about where do we go from here and how do we ensure that the year we just had is repeated and maybe even escalated.
Okay, so now that we all know we have a role in sales, I want to set the stage for 2026. We have the same sales goal, 36 sales. And as Judy mentioned earlier, it takes a village. It's hard to make a sale, so we really do need the commitment of the entire team to achieve similar results in 2025. So we're on the board. We have one sale, 2.7% to our goal, but it's just January. How many of you have downloaded WestNest? Oh, good, a lot of you. So this slide will be updated throughout the year to reflect current sales goals and successes. Okay, we're getting to kind of the meat of our presentation here. I want to talk about hospitality. Hospitality is not one big thing. It's hundreds of little details strung together to make something beautiful. In order for us to meet these 2026 sales goals, we really need to hone in and focus on our 10 hospitality promises. These promises are something that we should be living and breathing each day. So these may look familiar to you. I know it's a little hard to read, but we are going to go through each of these promises individually. Living these hospitality promises each and every day really is the secret sauce, both here at Westminster and LCS. So, hospitality promise number 1. We greet you warmly, by name, and with a smile. In a senior living community, warm, personalized greetings are essential for creating a welcoming atmosphere. By using residents' names and offering a friendly smile, associates help residents feel valued and seen. It also enhances their satisfaction. Does anyone know how long it takes to make a first impression? It's a number.
3 seconds.
How many?
7.
10 seconds.
Perfect, 7 seconds. Brian got it. This is from the Harvard Study of Communications. So 38% of a first impression is how you sound. 7% of a first impression are the words you say. So 45% of a first impression are the words that are actually coming out of your mouth, okay? The majority, 55% of a first impression is visual. This is how you look, how you stand, how you smile, how you shake hands, how you make eye contact, okay? We'll talk about more about first impressions here in a bit, but it's important to really pay attention to how you spend these first 7 seconds when you're engaging a resident, a prospective resident, really any of our customers. Has anyone ever walked into a restaurant or a business and something was just so off-putting that you turned around and walked right back out? Has that ever happened to anybody?
Yes.
Yeah. How did it make you feel? Do you remember? Ugh.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Why do you think first impressions matter so much? Anybody have an idea?
It sets the mood.
You only get one time.
It sets the mood. No, that's right. Say it again, Mary.
You only have one time.
You only have
First.
one chance. That's so very true. First impressions matter because people always remember the way that you made them feel. They're going to remember that negative impression and then they're going to continue to tell others about it. When you guys walked into work this morning, do you remember what the lobby looked like? What it smelled like? What did the concierge desk look like? Were there packages overflowing, coffee cups, or was it nice and tidy? Ours was, yeah. I know that this sounds silly, but these little tiny things, this is the first thing that prospective residents see, hear, and feel when they come into our community. So it's important that we pay attention to these really small details. Paying attention to these details makes a wonderful first impression. Okay, what's right or what's wrong? So I have 2 photos here. One on the left Can we find 5 things from this picture that does or does not make a good first impression? And you guys can just shout them out.
The trash.
Trash, paper, chairs pushed back. Is there anybody at the desk?
Computer's not on.
The
Computer's
paper-
not
the
on, no
paperwork.
one's working.
The paperwork.
Paperwork scattered, there's food on our desk. You can't see it, but we did take the phone off the receiver. It's like hanging down from the desk. What about the picture on the right? Tidy, Gabby's there, she's engaged, she's on the phone, she's ready to assist whoever comes to her desk. So the picture on the right makes a wonderful first impression, right? We can see the difference. Okay, hospitality promise number 2. We treat everyone with courteous respect. Treating others with respect builds trust, and that's especially important for residents who depend on us for their daily needs to be met and for support. Associates can apply this hospitality promise by using polite language, by maintaining eye contact, and giving their full attention to residents. I have a real-world scenario question I need some help with. What if a guest waits patiently while you assist someone else? How could you acknowledge that guest respectfully, even if you're not available yet? Ooh, I saw a hand in the back.
Offering something, drink, or make a meal that they would acknowledge that he's there and we appreciate the
That's exactly what you should do. Acknowledge their existence, acknowledge that they're there. Even offering a drink while they're waiting is a wonderful first impression. Okay, has anyone ever heard of the 5-10 rule? Is that familiar? Yes, some of you have heard about it. This is a super easy trick that for whatever reason I've just always remembered, and it leaves a really great lasting impression. But the way that it works, for example, so let's say 2 people are walking down a hallway towards each other. At 10 feet, you're making eye contact and offering a friendly smile. At 5 feet, you are offering a warm greeting. So you are saying hello, saying welcome to Westminster. How awkward is it, right? When we're walking down a hallway and the other person doesn't acknowledge that you're there. It's terrible. So again, a simple, kind of silly little rule that you could remember to use. This can make a lasting impression.
Hospitality promise number 3. We anticipate your needs and act accordingly. So the first thing we should ask ourselves is, why did this person choose Westminster? Often they move because there's something not going well at home, right? And whatever their motivation, we know that they decided on us. They chose us. So for that reason, it's at this point that we need to take pride in our community and fulfill their needs. How do we do that? Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to identify their needs. We want to ask them, we want to talk to them. Because we already talked about everybody's different and unique, right? So what Mr. Smith needs is different than what Mrs. Jones needs. So we want to talk to them and identify what do they need. Once we identify what Mrs. Jones needs, we want to talk to others that would benefit from hearing that information. And a good example of that would be if Mrs. Jones tells me in conversation that she's diabetic, well, I can take that information back to food and beverage and tell them Mrs. Jones is diabetic and what kind of programs, what kind of food can we offer her that would be good for her to have while she's a diabetic. Wow, that's taking it to the next level. That's hospitality. And with that, we can then create ways to fulfill her needs, right? To make sure that we've got items on the menu that would be appropriate for somebody who's diabetic. And then finally, we want to collect data from her. How did we do? Because a lot of these awards that you're winning came from data that was collected on people that were happy and pleased with what you did. Even if it is, we didn't do a good job, well, goodness, we can learn from that, right? So we're going to collect that data, and ultimately, that's how we're going to better anticipate needs of our residents and make them happy residents. Hospitality number 4, we listen and respond enthusiastically and in a timely manner. So I've got 2 pictures there for you. The first picture, can you imagine telling Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, I'm afraid you're mistaken. How's that going to go over here at Westminster? They don't take that very well, do they? But think about how it might be if it was the gal in the bottom picture, right? She's got that beautiful smile on her face. She is there and ready to help with whatever you need. That's what we're talking about when we say listen and respond enthusiastically in a timely manner. Accountability. So accountability is a big one. And when we talk about accountability, we're really talking about accepting responsibility for our actions. If something goes wrong, we need to communicate it honestly. We don't want to brush it under the rug, right? We all make mistakes, but it's how we manage those mistakes that makes the difference, right? And so a great example would be if I am in food and beverage and we're having prime rib this week and I'm responsible for placing the order, but I forget to order the prime rib. Whew. We can run to Costco. We can fix this. We can get that prime rib, right? But ultimately, I need to hold myself responsible, admit that I forgot to order it. Somebody might help me to run to Costco to go get that. And in the future, I'm going to do a better job of doing my job so that those kind of things aren't done. That's the way we want to handle. We want to hold ourselves and other people accountable to the job that they need to do. Because when we don't, somebody else has to pick up the pieces. And that's when things start going south. Hospitality number 6. We make you feel important. Is there value in making someone feel important? There sure is. Why? Why do you feel better when somebody says, great job? You feel acknowledged. You feel like what you do matters. And what happens tomorrow when you come back to work after you've just been acknowledged? Boost your confidence. You do it again. As a matter of fact, you might even do it better. You might even think of something you could do even bigger and better than that. So think about that. Jordan's going to talk about your star cards. Little ways that you can show appreciation and acknowledge people for the job that they do. As little or as big as it might be. Really goes a long way of making each other feel important. But we can do the same thing with residents. How do you think it makes a resident feel when you say, you look wonderful today. Did you get your hair done? Oh, somebody noticed. We can do that without a whole lot of work. Okay, hospitality number 7. We embrace and value our differences. Wow, in this world we live in, how important is this? Right? In senior living, it's no different. Our residents come from diverse backgrounds. Right? Our staff comes from diverse backgrounds too. And so it's essential to demonstrate that differences are valued and respected here at the campus. So I'm going to throw out a little nugget for you. And Jordan and I just were so grateful for what you do that we're going to put $1 billion into your bank account today. We're just feeling awfully generous. Yeah, give yourselves a round of applause. You are really good. So what we're going to ask you to do next is we're going to ask you to tell the person next to you, what are you going to do with your $1 billion? Go ahead.
Give part of it away. No more
For me. Probably. Buy the kids' houses when they get to be of age.
Okay, a couple volunteers. What are you doing with your $1 billion? Go ahead, back in the back.
I'm gonna invest and I'm gonna stay home.
She's going to invest and she's going to start her own assisted living. Woo! That's fantastic. All right, who's next? What are you going to do with your $1 billion?
I'm going to retire.
You're going to retire. Okay, congratulations. Travel. Okay, excellent. Anybody else? One more. Take care of my family. Okay. So thank you. What'd you hear?
Nice things.
Everybody's different. Everybody has different values, but we respect and we appreciate their values and what they stand for and what they're going to do with that $1 billion, what they're going to do with their lives, right? That's what this is all about. So great job. We take back the $1 billion. I'm so sorry. All right. Hospitality promise number 8. Instead, we're giving you a cup with some candies in it. Congratulations. Hospitality number 8. Is there anything else I can do for you? So I have to give you a quick example. Jordan and I were here for the 6 a.m. presentation. We're here at 5:30. When we walked in here, there were 2 gentlemen tearing down tables, making sure everything was right. Got the garbage cans done. We had music on. We were ready for that 6 o'clock shift. And before they left, one of the gentlemen asked Jordan, is there anything more I can do for you? And we looked at each other and went, high five. They listened to what we said, right? But maybe that's just the way they work. You know what that meant to the 2 of us? Wow. Well, actually, I do have this laundry now, and that's the worry, right? That's the worry about asking that question is, oh shoot, I got jobs to do, or I got to get out of here on time today. If I ask that person, is there anything more? They might say yes. Can you do this, this, and this for me? At the end of the day, this is the secret sauce at Westminster. You don't just set the bar here, you take it to the next level. And that's why you've got 250 people waiting on your waiting list to get in here, because of all of you.
Hospitality promise number 9. We maintain high levels of professionalism both in conduct and appearance at all times. I have another what's right or what's wrong situation. Let's look at the photo. Shout out to Victor. He did such a good job modeling for me. Look at the photo on the left. Can we point out 5 things that make this picture professional or unprofessional? No name tag. Glasses, headphones. He has his face in his phone, right? He's not engaged. Shoes, good job.
His posture.
Posture, he doesn't look very approachable. His shirt's untucked. Just all over not a really good look, right? What about the picture on the right? He looks approachable. He looks helpful. Like you can go to him and ask him a question. Yep, name tag, shoes, right?
And he's smiling.
And he's smiling. Yes, yes. Great job. Hospitality promise number 10. We pay attention to the details. Did we pay attention to the details when we were cleaning the sink? Ugh. At our level of hospitality, it is essential that we check and recheck that the task was done, but that it was also done well. Remember that slide from earlier? It's all about the little things. It's those hundreds of little details strung together to make something beautiful. I mean, imagine if you checked into a really nice hotel and this was your sink when you got into the room. Ugh. This is just not acceptable, and we must make it our goal to always pay attention to the details.
So, who tells the story of all the great works that you do at Westminster?
The residents.
The residents, that's great. Ultimately, it's the job of the sales and marketing team to sell this place, right? To take that initial phone call, move them to an appointment, get them deposited and moved in. However, they can't do what they do without each of you. And so part of what we're going to do today is we're going to ask you to write your 30-second commercial. Because you should assume that when Jordan or her team or anybody in the sales team across the continuum is walking with an individual that you don't recognize, that person is likely thinking about making a move here or moving a family member here. And the impact that you can have by telling your story to that prospective resident is far better than what Jordan and her team can say, because they don't do your job every day. So all of you are going to tell your story. Who hears your story when you tell it? Well, first of all, the prospective resident or family member. Our residents hear your story every day, all the good works that you're doing, but also all these other people, right? The vendors that come in that go, oh my gosh, that place is just gorgeous. And the people love what they do there. It's senior living, that's tough to do, right? The mailman, the providers, the coworkers. So here's an example of what we call a 30-second commercial. Hi, my name is Amy, and I'm a concierge. My job is to be a resource to everyone here. I love being able to find solutions for our residents, their families, and our staff so that we can enjoy our day. Quick and easy and intentional. In a minute, we're going to show you 2 other examples, videos that we created, your teams created. And then we're going to ask you to take out that blue card that was with your cup, and if you didn't get a cup, that's because you're sitting in the far back. And we only put them in the closer spot, so you have to walk up and grab yourself a cup and a blue card. And on that blue card, we're gonna ask you to write your 30-second commercial. But we'll give you 2 more examples before.
I wonder if I've already done this.
Did you say you already did this?
I don't know if,
It is exactly the same thing we did 18 months ago.
oh no, I didn't mean
Oh,
doing this, I meant like the actual interview.
oh, okay, very good. Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'll use you next time. Okay, here's example 1. Okay, hold on, let me rewrite.
Hi, my name is Erin Garcia, and I am the move-in coordinator here at Westminster. So as the move-in coordinator, I help facilitate residents through the move-in process, starting from when they meet with the residency counselor, choosing selections, all the way up until the move, helping them coordinate moves. I really enjoy meeting all of the new residents and hearing all of their personal stories, as well as helping them with their selections. Sometimes they don't know what they want to choose, and so I have help with their selections, and I have a little bit of artistic ability, so that's something I really enjoy. So I really help them narrow down their decisions and help them focus on what really matters. Coming from a large house into a smaller apartment space can be a big transition for folks, and so I help them kind of figure out what they need, what they don't need, and really just helping them settle into a new way of life.
Okay, one more example for you.
Hi, I'm Bryson. I am a maintenance tech at Westminster, and I've been here for 1.5 years now. What I do is I make sure everything runs smoothly for our residents. I handle repairs on pretty much everything: electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and general systems across all our buildings. I enjoy working here because it is rewarding to serve our residents and be part of a team that is truly dedicated to having a positive impact. I impact the residents by responding to our residents in a timely manner and keeping their homes maintained. I help them live a worry-free, purposeful life filled with rich experiences. That's what it's all about, is having them live a stress-free life so they can enjoy their time here.
So now it's your turn. On your blue card, if you haven't started already, we're going to ask you to do this. What's your name? What do you do? Why do you enjoy working here? And how do you make an impact on the residents you serve? Yep, you've got your pen in your cup if you need a pen. Thank you. So you're going to write down, what do you do? Why do you enjoy working here? And how do you make an impact on the residents you serve?
could have moved the dead tomato plant out of the screenshot.
Yeah, no kidding.
You did use your mouth.
I like that, that's great.
In your sunroom.
In
Yeah.
the sunroom. Sunroom looks really
It's
good.
really pretty.
Everything's all ready.
It's January.
I don't think people expect it to be like flourishing.
Well, and of course, I think we're probably one of the few that can film outside in January.
That's
Do you know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah. The problem inside, because there's citrus, it's supposed to be used.
Yeah.
So it's a little sparse.
And now it's gonna snow.
Well, it's a work in process.
Okay. So we're going to ask for a volunteer to read your 30-second commercial. Thank you.
You don't have to stand up. Can you say it so everyone can hear you?
I wouldn't mind you being on my phone.
Okay, I guess I'll stand up.
Hi. I'm Shelby. I'm the outreach liaison for Skilled Nursing Health Center. My role is to provide guidance and resources for prospective rehab residents and their families. And I love being able to provide education for folks and exuding a warmth and kindness in a time of uncertainty following a medical event. And I love bringing a sense of understanding to our complex health system.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine how powerful that would be if you said that? And you probably do, right?
Yeah.
But that's amazing. Who's next?
Thank you.
I'm seeing gift cards flying.
It's surprising when you get the gift cards out how many people talk, right?
Hi, my name is Brooks. I'm the Assisted Living and Memory Activity Director. I find fun and enriching ways to engage with our elder friends. I get to spend time with my favorite people every day, helping facilitate a sense of purpose, joy, family, and community.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's awesome.
What I wrote.
That's exactly.
That's exactly what I wrote. Okay, we have one more gift card. Who's the next? Okay.
Hi, my name is Christian Price, and I am a floor supervisor in the food and beverage department here at Westminster. I enjoy my work here because I get to be a reliable person that provides good, consistent hospitality in the restaurants and encourage my team to do the same as well. I impact the residents by being someone that they can count on to provide great service at their meal times, further increasing their quality of life and their enjoyment here at Westminster.
Those are phenomenal, you guys. Thank you so much for putting time and energy into that. We are not collecting those today, but we do ask you to kind of own those as your personal story, that if you see anybody in the sales team with somebody, that you'll approach them with that 5-10 rule and tell your story. It'll make a big difference in their decisions.
Okay, last little section for you guys. How many of you look up reviews before you buy a big purchase? Or yeah, same, me too, always. The same thing is happening in senior living. These online reviews are absolutely crucial to the success of our community, but also our online reputation. And we do need your help, the help of the entire sales and marketing team, to gather these reviews. So LCS does set a benchmark of 5 reviews per month, but sometimes, you might have to ask 10 people, 12 people before you're able to secure a review. So as I said, we do need the help of the entire team, and this is where you guys come in. So in 2026, we are launching a Race for the Stars review competition. This is a year-long department versus department challenge to earn as many 5-star reviews as possible during your designated month. So here's how it will work. Each department is assigned a month, and I'll show you that in just a second, but each department must submit 6 5-star Google reviews to be eligible for the competition. Each 5-star review will be worth 1 point. Bonus points if your department is mentioned in the review or if an associate is named in the review. And you get a couple of extra points if the review is from a resident or a resident family member. The department with the most points at the end of 2026 will earn the 5-star cup. There will also be a fun celebration in January of 2027 for that department. And then throughout the year, there will be a lot of individual recognition for extraordinary team members. So how to encourage reviews? Well, we only earn reviews when we ask, right? We have to always be asking. all of our customers, as Judy mentioned. In a couple of slides, I'll show you a QR code that you could save to your phone. You could use this QR code to text, to email for a review request. In your cups, there's also a review card with a QR code. So this is just a sample. You can feel free to give it out. The back is blank. Like, how cool would it be if you wrote a personalized message on the back and then handed that to someone to ask for a review? We have found that the more personal you are, the more personal your request, the more likely it is that person will leave a review. We're super excited about this competition. I think it'll be fun. Everyone loves some healthy competition, right? Department versus department. This competition will kick off February 1st. Be sure to check West Nest for monthly leaderboards and updates throughout the year. Here's a quick view of the months, the assignments. So know that your department head will certainly pass down more information to you when your designated month rolls around. But for this contest, I do want to say something. We appreciate associate reviews. We really, really do. But just know that if there are too many associate reviews, it'll flag in Google. And that is just not what we want to have happen. So for this purposes of this contest, I would really encourage you to focus on getting reviews from residents, resident family members, vendors, our community partners. There are so many folks that we could reach out to. Here is that QR code. If you wanted to save it, know that the same QR code is also on the review cards in your cup. If you would like more review cards, you just stop by marketing and we'll give those to you throughout the year. We hope that this is a way to get creative, have fun, and let your department excellence shine. Okay, so we've talked a lot about our milestones that we achieved in 2025. We do need to pause and celebrate our success. So we have prepared some fun giveaways for you guys just to show our appreciation for all that you do to serve our residents every day. When our residents are happy, they tell a friend about it. And then that friend moves into Westminster. And that cycle just continues. It's really powerful. Another way to celebrate our successes is by use of these star cards. We all know what these are, right? These are located at all reception desks. You can also pick it up from HR. But these star cards are a fantastic way to call out good work from other associates. Everyone loves when they get a star card, right? How good does it feel when someone tells you what a good job you've done? So I'd encourage you to use these star cards as well when you see another associate going above and beyond. And I'll let Judy wrap up, but just a personal thank you from me to you about all of your efforts and success in 2025. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
And finally, yes, everybody deserves a round of applause, but finally, so we've learned a lot today, I hope. We've talked about how well we did in 25. We've reviewed those hospitality promises so that everybody understands your part in adding to that those occupancy goals. We talked about online reviews and how important that is, and we're gonna have a contest to get that going and to make sure that we're hitting our metrics there as well. And we round it all out by writing your personal story, your 30-second commercial, and realizing that everybody's got a part in adding to occupancy and everybody sells. So again, like Jordan said, thank you so much. We had a fabulous year. We look forward to 2026. Go out there and do all the great things that you do, and we thank you so much. Have a great day.